What's up, YouTube? This is Victor on the Let Me Explain show, and I'd just like to talk about the creativity workshop that I intend to run next year. I've already done one workshop in Berkeley, California, and the results were astronomical. It was just great to see how people responded to the whole idea of engaging in a workshop that deals with creativity. Now, my background is I'm a visual artist. I also write what you may call poetry. I don't consider myself a poet because my writing comes through when I'm putting down ideas for paintings or performances. So to call myself a poet would be doing an injustice to the field of poetry, because I have a high respect for poets and what they do. But my point in saying this is that part of my creative process comes through in words, and part of it comes through in visual paintings, and another part comes in performance art. So by mentioning the writing really acts as the main cog in the whole process, because by putting down my thoughts on paper, I'm able to articulate them better in visual art and also on stage. So that being said, it really gives me a big pool of both experience and technical tools that I can access to be able to to be able to unleash my creativity. I like to use the word unleash because it's there and it feels like sometimes it's bound in chains, which I find true for most people, because more often than not, we've been told that we're not creative, and that chain really binds us down because it becomes a belief, and that belief is so strong that we don't even try. In my experience as a teacher, I've been teaching art for over 15 years. I found that once people get over the idea that they're not artists and they're willing to try, something magical happens. They discover they have their own line, their own color palette, their own creative composition. Everything just falls into place so beautifully. So my workshop is not limited to a profession of any kind. Like I said, I view everybody as an artist, and because when you really think about it, one of the things we do, or we did as kids, and that kids still do, is they draw, they build, they play imaginatively. You know, they use their creativity and imagination to entertain themselves and develop.
And it's gonna be splattered all over it. So I'm gonna use this, and I'm gonna press this button. It's gonna go like that.
Okay, comes in.
I'm gonna spray it all. It's gonna spray all around.
Okay.
So say if I dipped it in that color, and then I put it like quite closer, and I spin it, it will go all over.
Okay, are we
ready?
ready?
That's what we're doing today.
Okay, let's do it. So, by that rationale, I have always stipulated that everybody is an artist at heart. At the core, we are all creative. If we weren't creative, you wouldn't survive this world. Now, take a simple thing like walking down the street, and you see a group of people that you don't want to be associated with. Your mind starts working out ideas on how to get around that, and if you're caught in it, how to get out of it. That's a very fundamental, a very basic form of creativity. Now, that can be translated very easily into poetry or something to put on stage, be it a fine art performance or a theatrical performance. It can also be translated into visual art. So this workshop is not limited to anybody. You could be an accountant, you could be a CEO, you could be an art teacher, you could be a history teacher, whatever you are, a nurse, massage therapist, whichever walk of life you come from. I am confident through my experience in teaching that you will benefit from the creative workshop. So that being said, do look out on my website, which I'll put the link below. I'll have a calendar there and updates on when I have workshops. I also have a page on Eventbrite and meet up that I'll put up. So if you just look up Creative Workshop Unleash Your Creativity, you should be able to find me. This has been Victor on the Let Me Explain show, and I hope this opens up the door for you to start exploring your creativity. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment box below, and I will certainly get back to you. Have a beautiful day. If it's nighttime, likewise. My name is Victor Mavedzenge, and I'm originally from Zimbabwe. I've been in the United States from 2011. Prior to that, I studied in London, England for 4 years for my master's in fine art degree. And I've been teaching art for the past 15 to 16 years. So in putting together this workshop, my main goal was to help people rediscover their creative nature. And I say rediscover their creative nature because we're naturally creative. If you imagine any child, the one thing they will do is draw on your wall. The one thing you'll find them doing is scribbling somewhere or making something out of something. So our creativity is an inherent part of our nature. It's something we do naturally. As Picasso said, we're born artists and then we unlearn to be artists. In other words, we move away from that path. So generally the creative workshop will show you that we all speak the same language when it comes to line. I've got a great exercise online that will show you that people reinterpret it in the same manner. And this exercise really goes to show that whatever you draw will have information packed into it. It's like a code. And since this code is universal, everybody is entitled to it. I've experimented with this exercise in Africa, in England, and now in America. So I have got quite a good database and a stance to stand on to say it really works. The second part of the creative workshop is looking at how we see, how we observe the world around us, and how we take that data in and then process it to become a creative output. So I won't go into what creativity is. There's a lot of information about people who've studied what creativity is, given presentations on their thoughts on creativity, and so on. We will discuss this during the workshop, but the crux of the matter is that I want to connect people to their creative nature. How they interpret it is up to them, but the idea is that I reignite that part of them that existed in their childhood, so they can go about creating without any inhibitions. So the creative workshop will work in three parts. First is a presentation of the general idea of what creativity is. It's good to cover the bases and also see what other scholars have said about it. The second part will be going into the more practical aspect of it, like looking at images, deconstructing them. And then the third part is actually practicing as a group the line exercise to see how that works. And the final part will be to create a drawing, create a poem. Yes, this goes into poetry too, because when you really look at a poem, it's just visual data in the form of words. So at the end of it all, I would like people to walk away with a sense that they can create, that this is their rightful place to be in. And there's no need to be judgmental of oneself, to be fearful of what the outcome may be. Some of the best artists do not actually know what the outcome is. And why that is so is because each stroke and each color will alter a painting or drawing slightly. And creativity allows you to constantly see where the drawing or painting is going, constantly monitor how those lines and colors are affecting each other, to such a point that you begin to entrust the flow and also monitor the flow and channel So the workshop basically runs for an hour and a half. This is the basic workshop where I just run through the material and don't go into in depth with the material. The the second part, the second workshop, which is the more intensive one, would take 2 days, 6 hour workshops over 2 days. And in the second workshop, which is the more intensive one, I really go into the mechanism, the mechanics of color, the mechanics of texture, the mechanics of how we interact with the world, and how we pull out data and use that as creative material. In the intensive workshop, I will work with individuals one on one and really explore what their line is saying, how their creative interpretation can be enhanced. So if you're interested in the workshop, please do get in touch. There is a link in the below the video, or if you're watching this from our website, just go to the contact page and get in touch. And I'll be very happy to discuss with you what type of workshop you would like to hold. I can customize it to your needs, but I do require that I have at least 5 or more people, maximum being 20 people. I also do my own version of sip and paint, you know, the painting in a bar where people paint the same picture. My version, nonetheless, is people create their own abstract paintings, and I walk them through how to do that process. So instead of showing them one picture where they will all paint the same thing, I would rather go in there and explore what each individual has brought to the place and help them bring that out and develop that into a full-scale painting by the end of the night. This usually takes about 3 hours, but the longer the better. So do get in touch. This has been Victor, and I'm on the Let Me Explain show talking about my creative workshop.